Welcome to the HUD Information Systems Continuous Monitoring Specialized Training. There are 7 modules for the Information Security Continuous Monitoring or ISCM training. Module 1, Introduction, will gain insight into the ISCM program, learn ISCM terminology, roles and responsibilities, and review reference sources. Module 2, Risk and Continuous Monitoring, will define risk, understand the need for organizational risk management, learn risk management components, and the various tier levels in an organization. Module 3, Identifying Mission Essential Functions, will address the Critical Information System Identification approach and understand Federal Information Processing Standards, or FIPS 199 category. Module 4, System Assessment and Authorization, will review the NIST Risk Management Framework, or RMF, Initial System Authorization and Accreditation, or SANA, tasks and responsibilities, understand SANA processes and procedures, comprehend authorizations, know department and system level tasks and responsibilities relating to continuous monitoring, and understand ISCM criteria, processes, procedures, and documentation. Module 5, Minimum System Inventory, will address minimum system inventory policy, describe minimum system inventory components, system description, system responsibility, security information, system interconnections, and system inventory updates. Module 6, Continuous Monitoring Process, will address understanding the continuous monitoring ISCM system level process, defining strategy, program establishment, implementation, analysis and reporting, response to audit findings, and review and update the monitoring program and strategy. The module also covers supporting ISCM technologies. Module 7, CSAM Process, will address steps in the CSAM process. The objectives of Module 1 are: gain an overview of ISCM, become familiar with ISCM terminology, understand roles and responsibilities, and review reference sources. ISCM phase maintains an ongoing awareness of information security, vulnerabilities, and threats to support organizational risk management decisions. In other words, ISCM maintains a situational awareness of all systems across the organization, maintains an understanding of threats and related activities, assesses all security controls, collects, correlates, and analyzes security-related information, provides actionable communication of security status across all tiers of the organization. An effective communication with all stakeholders is essential in developing a risk strategy that can foster strong institutional capabilities and good governance structures. This training is important since it is essential to HUD RMF process. It provides a methodology for meeting the Authorization to Operate, or ATO, requirements. In addition, it supports ongoing infrastructure decisions. The terminology for assessment area is listed in this slide. Assessment findings are results produced by the application of an assessment procedure to a security control. Assessment method are 3 types of action: examine, interview, and test. Assessment object is the items such as specifications, mechanisms, activities, and individuals being assessed. Assessment objective is the outcome statements for the assessment of a security control. Assessment procedure are objectives and methods for assessment of objects. Examine is the assessment method characterized by examining one or more assessment objects. Expected output is any data collected from monitoring and assessments as part of the ISCM strategy. Interview is an assessment method that characterizes by the process of individual discussions. Mechanisms is an assessment object that includes specific protection-related items used in an information system. Test is an assessment method that is characterized by the process of testing objects under specified conditions and comparing to actual behavior. The terminology for controls is listed on this slide. Common control is a security control that is inherited by one or more organizational information systems. Common control provider is an organizational official responsible for the development, implementation, assessment, and monitoring of common controls, such as security controls inherited by information systems. Compensating security controls are safeguards or countermeasures employed by an organization in lieu of the recommended controls in the low, moderate, or high baselines, as described in NIST Special Publication 853, that provide equivalent or comparable protection for an information system. Configuration control, or configuration management, is a process for controlling modifications to hardware, firmware, software, and documentation to protect the information system against improper modifications before, during, and after system implementation. Hybrid security control is a security control that is implemented in an information system in part as a common control and in part as a system-specific control. Security control assessment is the testing and/or evaluation of the management, operational, and technical security controls in an information system to determine the extent to which the controls are implemented correctly, operating as intended, and producing the desired outcome with respect to meeting the security requirements for the system. Security control assessor is the individual, group, or organization responsible for conducting a security control assessment. Security control baseline is one of the sets of minimum security controls defined for federal information systems in NIST Special Publication 853. The terminology for controls is continued on this slide. Security control inheritance is a situation in which an information system or application receives protection from security controls, or portions of security controls, that are developed, implemented, assessed, authorized, and monitored by entities other than those responsible for the system or application. Security controls are safeguards or countermeasures prescribed for an information system to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the system and its information. System-specific security control is a security control for an information system that has not been designated as a common security control or portion of a hybrid control that is to be implemented with an information system. Tailoring is the process by which a security control baseline is modified based on 1. The application of scoping guidance, 2. The specification of compensating security controls if needed, and 3. The specification of organization-defined parameters in the security controls via explicit assignment and selection statements. The terminology for risk area is listed in this slide. Risk is a measure of the extent to which an entity is threatened by a potential circumstance or event, and typically a function of 1. The adverse impacts that would arise if the circumstance or event occurs, and 2. The likelihood of occurrence. Risk assessment is the process of identifying risks to organizational operations including mission, functions, image, and reputation, organizational assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation, resulting from the operation of an information system. Part of risk management incorporates threat and vulnerability analyses and considers mitigations provided by security controls planned or in place. Risk assessment is synonymous with risk analysis. Risk executive function is an individual or group within an organization that helps to ensure that 1. Security risk-related considerations for individual information systems are viewed from an organization-wide perspective with regard to the overall strategic goals and objectives of the organization that in carrying out its missions and business functions. And 2, managing information system-related security risks is consistent across the organization, reflects organizational risk tolerance, and is considered along with organizational risks affecting mission business success. Risk management is the program and supporting processes to manage information security risk to organizational operations, including mission, functions, image, and reputation, organizational assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation, and includes 1. Establishing the context for risk-related activities, 2. Assessing risk, 3. Responding to risk once determined, and 4. Monitoring risk over time. Risk monitoring is maintaining ongoing awareness of an organization's risk environment, risk management program, and associated activities to support risk decisions. Risk response is accepting, avoiding, mitigating, sharing, or transferring risk to organizational operations, mission, functions, image, or reputation, organizational assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation. Risk tolerance is the level of risk an entity is willing to assume to achieve a potential desired result. General ISCM terminology is listed on this slide. Advanced persistent threats is an adversary with sophisticated levels of expertise and significant resources, allowing it through the use of multiple different attack vectors, such as cyber, physical, and deception, to generate opportunities to achieve its objectives, which are typically to establish and extend footholds within the information technology infrastructure of organizations for purposes of continually exfiltrating information and/or to undermine or impede critical aspects of a mission, program, or organization, or place itself in a position to do so in the future. Availability is ensuring timely and reliable access to and use of information. Confidentiality is preserving authorized restrictions on information access and disclosure, including means for protecting personal privacy and proprietary information. Countermeasures are actions, devices, procedures, techniques, or other measures that reduce the vulnerability of an information system. Data loss is the exposure of proprietary, sensitive, or classified information through either data theft or data leakage. Incident is an occurrence that actually or potentially jeopardizes the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of an information system or the information the system processes, stores, or transmits. Integrity is guarding against improper information modification or destruction and includes ensuring information non-repudiation and authenticity. Malware is a program that is inserted into a system, usually covertly, with the intent of compromising the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the victim's data, applications, or operating system. Threat information is analytical insights into trends, technologies, or tactics of an adversarial nature affecting information system security. Potential impact is the loss of confidentiality, integrity, or availability. General ISCM terminology is continued on this slide. Metrics are tools designed to facilitate decision-making and improve performance and accountability through collection, analysis, and reporting of relevant performance-related data. Patch management is the system notification, identification, deployment, installation, and verification of operating system and application software code revisions. These revisions are known as patches, hotfixes, and service packs. Penetration testing is a test methodology in which assessors, using all available documentation, such as system design, source code, and manuals, and working under specific constraints, attempt to circumvent the security features of an information system. Plan of Action and Milestones, or POAM, is a document that identifies tasks needing to be accomplished. It details resources required to accomplish the elements of the plan, any milestones in meeting the tasks, and scheduled completion dates for the milestones. Resilience is the ability to continue, one, operating under the adverse conditions or stress, even if in a degraded or debilitated state, while maintaining essential operational capabilities, and two, to recover to an effective operational posture in a time frame consistent with mission needs. Security automation domain is an information security area that includes a grouping of tools, technologies, and data. Security categorization is the process of determining the security category for information or an information system. Security domain is a domain that implements a security policy and is administered by a single authority. General ISCM terminology is continued on this slide. Status monitoring is monitoring information security metrics defined by the organization and the ISCM strategy. System Security Plan is a formal document that provides an overview of the security requirements for an information system. It describes security controls in place or planned for meeting those requirements. Threat source is the intent and method targeted at the intentional exploitation of a vulnerability or a situation and method that may accidentally trigger a vulnerability. Vulnerability is a weakness in an information system, system security procedures, internal controls, or implementation that can be exploited or triggered by a threat source. The roles and responsibilities of HUD entities with respect to the ISCM program are as follows. The HUD executives are the primary force within HUD responsible for ensuring that the department fulfills its mission and progresses towards its vision. The Office of the Chief Information Officer, or OCIO, has the primary responsibility for planning and deploying systems and technology in support of HUD's mission and ensuring the department's information systems and technology operate consistent with the department's goals for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The Chief Information Officer, or CIO, is responsible for ensuring that an effective ISCM program is established and implemented for the organization by establishing expectations and requirements for the program. The Deputy CIO, for the Office of Information Technology Operations, or OITO, establishes, implements, and maintains HUD's ISCM program as part of the office's responsibility to manage and direct HUD's IT infrastructure and day-to-day operations. The Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO, directs the management of HUD's cybersecurity program. The CISO oversees compliance with federal cybersecurity requirements across the department, develops cybersecurity policies and procedures, including configuration management guidance, consolidates and analyzes POAMs to determine organizational security weaknesses and deficiencies, provides training on the organization's ISCM program and processes, and, in coordination with the Deputy CIO for IT Operations, provides support for information owners and information system owners on how to implement ISCM for their information systems. The Office of Information Technology Security, or OITS, provides staff support for the HUD CISO. OITS develops department-wide cybersecurity policy, guidance, and architecture requirements for all HUD systems and provides oversight to ensure the policies are implemented. The HUD Incident Response Team, or HUD-CERT, investigates, manages, and tracks incident handling and response activities for the department. Program managers and system owners are responsible for ensuring that systems comply with federal information security requirements and for minimizing risks that might result from breaches of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The Office of Inspector General, or the OIG, is responsible for performing independent evaluations and audits of internal and external security. Individuals with assessment and monitoring responsibilities assess information systems or program management security controls for the organization's ISCM program, pull and review IT system performance reports, provide prompt reports on identified weaknesses, and review open POEMs to ensure remediation is on track. Individuals with implementation and operational responsibilities support the organization's ISCM program by participating in the configuration management process, maintain the inventory of components associated with information system for which they are responsible, conduct security impact analyses on changes, prepare and submit security status reports in accordance with organizational policies and procedures, conduct remediation activities as necessary to maintain the current authorization status, update security documents as changes occur, and distribute critical security documents to individual information owners or system owners. Some of the references are listed in this slide. Please take a moment to review these references. The references are continued from the previous slide. Please take a moment to review these references. Module 2 will be a comprehensive review of NIST Special Publication 839, Managing Information Security Risk. The objectives of Module 2 are: define risk, understand the need for organizational risk management, understand the components of risk management, and know the tiers of risk in an organization. According to the Business Dictionary, risk is a probability or threat of damage, injury, liability, loss, or any other negative occurrence that is caused by external or internal vulnerabilities, and that may be avoided through preemptive action. So, in information assurance, this translates to the risk to the organization or to individuals associated with the operation of a system. Widening the aperture, the overall management process is known as a Risk Management Framework, or RMF, which provides a disciplined and structured process that integrates information security and risk management activities into the system development lifecycle. Information technology is widely recognized as the engine that drives the U.S. economy, giving industry a competitive advantage in global markets, enabling the federal government to provide better services to its citizens, and facilitating greater productivity as a nation. Organizations in the public and private sectors depend on technology-intensive information systems to successfully carry out their mission-essential functions. Information systems can include diverse entities ranging from high-end supercomputers, workstations, personal computers, and cellular telephones to very specialized systems, such as weapons systems, telecommunication systems, industrial or process control systems, and environmental control systems. Information systems are subject to serious threats that can have adverse effects on organizational operations, missions, functions, image, or reputation, organizational assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation by exploiting both known and unknown vulnerabilities to compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the information being processed, stored, or transmitted by those systems. Threats to information and information systems can include purposeful attacks, environmental disruptions, and human or machine errors, and result in great harm to the national and economic security interests of the United States. Therefore, it is imperative that leaders and managers at all levels understand their responsibilities and are held accountable for managing information security risk, that is, the risk associated with the operation and use of information systems that support the missions and business functions of their organizations. Managing risk is a complex, multifaceted activity that requires the involvement of the entire organization. From senior leaders and executives providing the strategic vision and top-level goals and objectives for the organization, to mid-level leaders planning, executing, and managing projects, to individuals on the front lines operating the information systems supporting the organization's missions and business functions. Risk management is a comprehensive process that requires organizations to frame risk, such as establish the context for risk-based decisions, assess risk, respond to risk once determined, and monitor risk on an ongoing basis using effective organizational communications and a feedback loop for continuous improvement in the risk-related activities of organizations. Risk management is carried out as a holistic, organization-wide activity that addresses risk from the strategic level to the tactical level, ensuring that risk-based decision-making is integrated into every aspect of the organization. The following slides will briefly describe each of the 4 risk management components. The first component of risk management addresses how organizations frame risk or establish a risk context, that is, describing the environment in which risk-based decisions are made. The purpose of the risk framing component is to produce a risk management strategy that addresses how organizations intend to assess risk, respond to risk, and monitor risk, making explicit and transparent the risk perceptions that organizations routinely use in making both investment and operational decisions. The risk frame establishes a foundation for managing risk and delineates the boundaries for risk-based decisions within organizations. Establishing a realistic and credible risk frame requires that organizations identify risk assumptions, such as assumptions about the threats, vulnerabilities, consequences, impact, and likelihood of occurrence that affect how risk is assessed, responded to, and monitored over time. Risk constraints, such as constraints on the risk assessment, response, and monitoring alternatives under consideration. Risk tolerance, levels of risk, types of risk, and degree of risk uncertainty that are acceptable. And priorities and trade-offs, which include the relative importance of missions and business functions, trade-offs among different types of risk that organizations face, timeframes in which organizations must address risk, and any factors of uncertainty that organizations consider in risk responses. The risk framing component and the associated risk management strategy also include any strategic level decisions on how risk to organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, and the nation is to be managed by senior leaders and executives. Risk framing is the set of assumptions, constraints, risk tolerances, and priorities and trade-offs that shape an organization's approach for managing risk. Risk framing is informed by the organizational governance structure, financial posture, legal and regulatory environment, investment strategy, culture, and trust relationships established within and among organizations. The second component of risk management addresses how organizations assess risk within the context of the organizational risk frame. The purpose of the risk assessment component is to identify threats to organizations, such as operations, assets, or individuals, or threats directed through organizations against other organizations or the nation. Vulnerabilities, internal and external to organizations. The harm or consequences and impact to organizations that may occur given the potential for threats exploiting vulnerabilities, and the likelihood that harm will occur. The end result is a determination of risk, such as the degree of harm and likelihood of harm occurring. To support the risk assessment component, organizations identify the tools, techniques, and methodologies that are used to assess risk, the assumptions related to risk assessments, the constraints that may affect risk assessments, roles and responsibilities, how risk assessment information is collected, processed, and communicated throughout organizations, how risk assessments are conducted within organizations, and the frequency of the risk assessments, and how threat information is obtained through sources and methods. The third component of risk management addresses how organizations respond to risk, once that risk is determined based on the results of risk assessments. The purpose of the risk response component is to provide a consistent organization-wide response to risk in accordance with the organizational risk frame by developing alternative courses of action for responding to risk, evaluating the alternative courses of action, determining appropriate courses of action consistent with organizational risk tolerance, and implementing risk responses based on selected courses of action. To support the risk response component, organizations describe the types of risk responses that can be implemented, such as accepting, avoiding, mitigating, sharing, or transferring risk. Organizations also identify the tools, techniques, and methodologies used to develop courses of action for responding to risk, how courses of action are evaluated, and how risk responses are communicated across organizations and as appropriate to external entities, such as external service providers and supply chain partners. The fourth component of risk management addresses how organizations monitor risk over time. The purpose of the risk monitoring component is to verify that planned risk response measures are implemented, determine the ongoing effectiveness of risk response measures following implementation, and identify risk impacting changes to organizational information systems and the environments in which the systems operate. To support the risk monitoring component, organizations describe how compliance is verified and how the ongoing effectiveness of risk responses is determined. In addition, organizations describe how changes that may impact the ongoing effectiveness of risk responses are monitored. Tier 1 addresses risk from an organizational perspective. Tier 1 implements the first component of risk management, such as risk framing, providing the context for all risk management activities carried out by organizations. Tier 1 risk management activities directly affect the activities carried out at Tiers 2 and 3. Tier 2 addresses risk from a mission and business process perspective, and is informed by the risk context, risk decisions, and risk activities at Tier 1. Tier 2 risk management activities include defining the mission and business processes needed to support the missions and business functions of organizations, prioritizing the mission and business processes with respect to the strategic goals and objectives of the organizations, defining the types of information needed to successfully execute the mission and business processes, the criticality and sensitivity of the information, and the information flows both internal and external to organizations, incorporating information security requirements into the mission and business processes, and establishing an enterprise architecture with embedded information security architecture that promotes cost-effective and efficient information technology solutions consistent with the strategic goals and objectives of the organization and measures of performance. Tier 2 activities directly affect the activities carried out at Tier 3. Tier 3 addresses risk from an information system perspective and is guided by the risk context, risk decisions, and risk activities at Tiers 1 and 2. Tier 3 risk management activities include categorizing organizational information systems, allocating security controls to organizational information systems and the environments in which those systems operate consistent with the organization's established enterprise architecture and embedded information security architecture, and managing the selection, implementation, assessment, authorization, and ongoing monitoring of allocated security controls as part of a disciplined and structured system development lifecycle process implemented across the organization. At Tier 3, information system owners, common control providers, system and security engineers, and information system security officers make risk-based decisions regarding the implementation, operation, and monitoring of organizational information systems. Based on these day-to-day operational risk-based decisions, authorizing officials make follow-on risk-based decisions on whether or not the information systems are initially authorized to operate within the designated environments of operation or continue to receive authorization to operate on an ongoing basis. Tier 1 addresses risk from an organizational perspective by establishing and implementing governance structures that are consistent with the strategic goals and objectives of organizations and the requirements defined by federal laws, directives, policies, regulations, standards, and missions and business functions. Governance structures provide oversight for the risk management activities conducted by organizations and include the establishment and implementation of a risk executive function, the establishment of the organization's risk management strategy, including the determination of risk tolerance, and the development and execution of organization-wide investment strategies for information resources and information security. Tier 2 addresses risk from a mission and business process perspective by designing, developing, and implementing mission and business processes that support the missions and business functions defined at Tier 1. Organizational mission and business processes guide and inform the development of an enterprise architecture that provides a disciplined and structured methodology for managing the complexity of the organization's information technology infrastructure. The risk management activities at Tier 2 begin with the identification and establishment of risk-aware mission and business processes to support the organizational missions and business functions. A risk-aware mission and business process is one that explicitly takes into account the likely risk such a process would cause if implemented. Implementing risk-aware mission and business processes requires a thorough understanding of the organizational missions and business functions, and the relationships among missions and business functions and supporting processes. This understanding is a prerequisite to building mission and business processes sufficiently resilient to withstand a wide variety of threats, including routine and sophisticated cyber attacks, errors and accidents, and natural disasters. All information systems, including operational systems, systems under development, and systems undergoing modification, are in some phase of the system development lifecycle. In addition to the risk management activities carried out at Tier 1 and Tier 2, risk management activities are also integrated into the system development lifecycle of organizational information systems at Tier 3. The risk management activities at Tier 3 reflect the organization's risk management strategy and any risk related to the cost, schedule, and performance requirements for an individual information systems supporting the mission and business functions of organizations. Risk management activities take place at every phase in the system development lifecycle, with the outputs at each phase having an effect on subsequent phases. For example, requirements definition is a critical part of any system development process and begins very early in the life cycle, typically in the initiation phase. The latest threat information that is available to organizations may significantly influence information system requirements and the types of solutions that are deemed by organizations to be acceptable in the face of such threats. Organizations also address risk management issues during the development and acquisition phase of the system development lifecycle. Whether in response to specific and credible threat information or assumptions about the threat, potential design-related vulnerabilities in organizational information systems can be mitigated during this phase by choosing less susceptible alternatives. Subsequent to initiation, development, and acquisition, the implementation phase of the system development lifecycle provides an opportunity for the organization to determine the effectiveness of the selected security controls employed within or inherited by the information systems under development prior to the commencement of actual operations. Once approved for operation, information systems move into the operations and maintenance phase of the system development lifecycle. The monitoring of security control effectiveness and any changes to organizational information systems and the environments in which those systems operate ensure that selected risk response measures are operating as intended on an ongoing basis. The objectives of Module 3 are to learn HUD Mission Essential Functions, or MEF, comprehend Critical Information System Identification Approach, and understand Federal Information Processing Standards, or FIPS 199 category. The Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD's mission, is to create strong, sustainable, inclusive communities and quality, affordable homes for all. HUD has specific responsibilities in the event of a national security emergency. HUD's objective is to 1. Develop plans for provision and management of housing in national security emergencies, including providing temporary housing using federal financing and other arrangements, and providing for radiation protection by encouraging voluntary construction of shelters and voluntary use of cost-effective design and construction techniques to maximize population protection. And 2, develop plans in cooperation with heads of other federal departments and agencies and state and local governments to restore community facilities, including electrical power, potable water, and sewage disposal facilities damaged in national security emergencies. From the federal perspective, critical infrastructure of the United States must be protected as defined in Homeland Security Presidential Directive, or HSPD 7. Critical infrastructure means systems and assets, whether physical or virtual, so vital to the United States that the incapacity or destruction of such systems and assets would have a debilitating impact on security, national economic security, national public health or safety, or any combination of those matters. To identify mission essential functions within a system, the system owner determines which HUD business function is supported by the information system, whether or not the business function can be provided without the information system, and if the information system is required to support HUD's programs and critical infrastructure. If the answer is yes, then the systems category is determined by analyzing the system and evaluating the impact of the loss on HUD's ability to accomplish its mission. Once the mission essential functions are identified, the mission critical template is filled out. The system owner must ensure the specific information contained in the system follows the guidance in the NIST Special Publication 860, Guide for Mapping Types of Information and Information Systems to Security Categories. All information and information systems should be categorized to determine what the impact would be on an organization if a security breach were to occur. For each type of information, the potential impact of low, moderate, or high is identified for each of the security objectives, confidentiality, integrity, and availability associated with the specific information type. FIPS 199 defines 3 levels of potential impact on organizations or individuals. 1. The potential impact is low if the loss of confidentiality, integrity, or availability could be expected to have a limited adverse effect on organizational operations, organizational assets, or individuals. Adverse effects on individuals may include, but are not limited to, a loss of privacy to which individuals are entitled under the law. 2. The potential impact is moderate if the loss of confidentiality, integrity, or availability could be expected to have a serious adverse effect on organizational operations, organizational assets, or individuals. A serious adverse effect means that, for example, the loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability might 1. Cause a significant degradation in mission capability to an extent and duration that the organization is able to perform its primary functions, but the effectiveness of the functions is significantly reduced. 2. Result in significant damage to organizational assets. 3. Result in significant financial loss. Or 4. Result in significant harm to individuals that does not involve loss of life or serious life-threatening injuries. 3. The potential impact is high if the loss of confidentiality, integrity, or availability could be expected to have a severe or catastrophic adverse effect on organizational operations, organizational assets, or individuals. A severe or catastrophic adverse effect means that, for example, the loss of confidentiality, integrity, or availability might 1. Cause a severe degradation in or loss of mission capability to an extent and duration that the organization is not able to perform one or more of its primary functions. 2. Result in major damage to organizational assets. 3. Result in major financial loss. Or 4. Result in severe or catastrophic harm to individuals involving loss of life or serious life-threatening injuries. The objectives of Module 4 are: review the risk management framework and methodology, review initial system assessment and authorization, or ANA, tasks and responsibilities, review oversight and compliance, understand assessment and authorization processes and procedures, understand minimum ISCM criteria, processes, procedures, and documentation, comprehend authorizations, know department system level tasks and responsibilities relating to continuous monitoring. The responsibility for HUD information and information systems must be integrated into all aspects of HUD's business operations and use of technology. Therefore, these procedures apply to all HUD employees and contractors. However, to enable effective and complete implementation of this policy, specific duties have been assigned to individuals who will be fully accountable for fulfilling the associated responsibilities. The roles and responsibilities in this section focus only on the information security roles and responsibilities for the individuals and organizations that are involved in HUD's information security program. These individuals and organizations often have additional responsibilities. The Secretary of the Department of Housing and Urban Development is responsible for ensuring that HUD information and information systems are protected in accordance with congressional and presidential directives. To that end, the Secretary will ensure that the CIO, the CISO, and the program offices or system owners have the support and resources that they need to effectively implement information security throughout HUD. The CIO is responsible for establishing and overseeing the department-wide information security program and provides information security consulting assistance to all HUD program offices for their individual programs. The CISO ensures that management of information system security risks is consistent across the HUD organization, reflects organizational risk tolerance, and is performed as part of a HUD-wide process that considers other organizational risks affecting mission and business success. They also ensure that information security considerations for individual information systems, including the specific authorization decisions for those systems, are viewed from a HUD-wide perspective regarding the overall strategic goals and objectives of the organization, and they facilitate the sharing of security-related and risk-related information among authorizing officials and other senior leaders within HUD to help officials consider all types of risks that may affect mission and business success and the overall interests of HUD at large. The OITS issues department-wide information security policy, guidance, and architecture requirements for all HUD systems and provides oversight to ensure the policies are implemented. The mission of the Chief Technology Officer, or CTO, is to ensure the effective and efficient use of technology at HUD, while providing the necessary expertise for HUD to take the maximum advantage of emerging technology. Additionally, the CTO will guide HUD in its adoption of best practices and procedures in the procurement, use, and sustainment of existing IT capabilities. The Office of Infrastructure and Operations is responsible for the IT infrastructure that provides shared services across HUD and ensuring the implementation of security components to secure those information system assets. The Chief Privacy Officer, or CPO, assures that service and service arrangement meet privacy policies regarding the protection, dissemination, and disclosure of information. The Configuration Control Management Board, or CCMB, serves as the decision-making body for vendor-specific system changes, as well as approving requested changes in accordance with HUD policies and procedures. The Technical Review Committee shall monitor the HUD's information technology projects and infrastructure services and provide analysis to the CIO. It shall act as a control gate in the project planning and management, or PPM, lifecycle to ensure that necessary deliverables are produced. The Office of the Chief Procurement Officer, or OCPO, ensures that HUD contracts for IT systems and services include the appropriate information security requirements. The OCPO, along with OITS and the Office of General Counsel, develops IT security contract clauses and other contract terms and conditions as appropriate. The Office of the Chief Human Capital for Services, or OCHCO, is responsible for defining position sensitivity levels for government positions and risk levels for contractor positions, for performing security background investigations when necessary, and for providing security-related exit procedures when employees leave HUD. The OIG is responsible for performing independent evaluations and audits of internal and external security. The roles and responsibilities are continued from the previous slide. The HUD General Counsel develops security clauses as appropriate based on current federal and HUD policies, regulations, and guidance for HUD information systems and services in conjunction with OITS and OCPO. The HUD Computer Incident Response Team, or HUD CERT, administers the incident response program to include monitoring, tracking, response coordination, and reporting of HUD computer security incidents. HUD CERT manages and responds to computer security incidents that involve HUD systems and data to help improve the overall security posture of HUD by independently verifying the security of HUD systems and to ensure the timely dissemination of security information to the appropriate stakeholders. System owners are dependent on information systems to fulfill the business requirements in order to achieve their program area's mission. They are responsible for the successful operation of those information systems and ultimately accountable for the security of their information systems. System owners are also responsible for implementing management, operational, and technical security controls to ensure that they are effective in protecting the information and information systems under their purview. Common control providers are responsible for the planning, development, implementation, assessment, authorization, and maintenance of common controls. In most cases, the system owner is the common control provider. The common control provider must ensure that the security plans, security assessment reports or SARs, and plan of action and milestones or POAMs for common controls are accessible to the information system owners inheriting those controls after the information is reviewed and approved. The ISSO is responsible for ensuring that security and privacy controls for securing the system belonging to the program office are in place and effective. The ISSO is responsible for all security aspects of their assigned systems from inception through disposal, as well as for ensuring system availability. An ISSO must be designated for every information system and serve as the point of contact for all security matters related to that information system. The system administrator is responsible for implementing and maintaining technical controls that enforce operational and managerial controls through mechanisms contained in hardware, software, or firmware components of the information system. They must maintain an environment that creates a strong technical foundation for enforcement of information system security. The System Security Administrator is responsible for approving access to the data in an application. The Security Control Assessor is an individual, group, or organization responsible for conducting a comprehensive assessment of security and privacy controls for an information system to determine the overall effectiveness of the controls, such as the extent to which the controls are implemented correctly, operate as intended, and produce the desired outcome with respect to meeting the security requirements for the system. The authorizing official is a senior government management official with the authority to formally assume responsibility for operating an information system at an acceptable level of risk. The authorizing official cannot delegate the security accreditation decision and signing of the associated accreditation decision letter. Supervisors authorize issuances of information system access for their staff and are directly responsible for notifying system owners when staff members are terminated, transferred, or no longer need access to a system. Users is a broad term used for all personnel that interact with HUD information resources, either in a support function by working directly with an information system resource, i.e. system user, or as a recipient of HUD information. Security controls are governance, process, and physical or technical mechanisms, also called safeguards or countermeasures, that are put into place to minimize risk. FISMA and the Office of Management and Budget, or OMB, has specified the minimum security controls required for information systems and provided agencies guidance on how to categorize information systems as either low, moderate, or high, based on the potential impact to the organization's mission and the nation. The NIST RMF is a collection of guidance documents organized into a framework. NIST devised the RMF as a standard way for federal organizations to select, assess, and monitor the appropriate security controls for information systems and subsequently to identify any risks to the information and the organization. Through implementation of the NIST RMF across HUD personnel with the responsibility for determining acceptable levels of risk are provided the critical information necessary to aid in making risk-based decisions. The 6 steps of the RMF process are: 1. Define criticality or sensitivity of information system according to potential worst-case adverse impact to mission and business. 2. Select baseline security controls, apply tailoring guidance, and supplement controls as needed based on risk assessment. 3. Implement security controls within enterprise architecture using sound systems engineering practices. 4. Determine security control effectiveness, such as controls implemented correctly, operating as intended, and meeting security requirements for information systems. 5. Determine risk to organizational operations and assets, individuals, other organizations, and the U.S. If acceptable, authorize operation. And 6. Continuously track changes to the information system that may affect security controls and reassess control effectiveness. A 7th step, prepare step, is added to the risk management framework in December 2018. The prepare step prepares the organization to execute the RMF by considering a variety of organizational inputs that establish the context for managing security and privacy risk for the system of interest. Program Office personnel must follow the process and procedures specified in FIPS Publication 199, NIST Special Publication 860, and in the HUD IT Security Handbook. Categorization of information systems include the security impact level, but also additional categorization and inventory information required by other federal guidance, such as: is the system a major application or minor application? Is the system a general support system? Does the system contain personally identifiable information, or PII? Is the system subject to e-authentication risk assessments? Is the system a contractor system? Does the system meet the NIST definition of a cloud computing solution? What is the current operational state of the system? Note: if the information system is categorized as a cloud computing solution, the system owner must comply with guidance published and managed by the GSA FedRAMP Program Office. The system owner must integrate the FedRAMP guidance into the overall HUD security authorization and continuous monitoring process and procedures specified in this guide. During the process of categorizing the information system, critical information regarding the information system must be obtained to support the categorization analysis and inventory of the system. A description of the system, including a description of the security authorization boundary, is critical at this stage. To select security controls in the Select step, Program Office personnel must select all FIPS 199 security baseline impact controls according to level, high, moderate, or low, from Cybersecurity Assessment and Management, or CSAM tool. Tailor the initial baseline by applying scoping, parameterization, and compensating control guidance. Ensure that CSAM provides the results of control scoping, parameters, compensating controls, and applicable HUD supplemental controls in the security plan for each control that is applicable to the system. Specify the minimum assurance requirements as appropriate. Using this scoped and tailored baseline of security controls, identify from this set which of the security controls are deemed common controls. Identify other security controls or portions of security controls that are controlled by another organization, either internal to HUD or external. document these controls and associated owners in the security plan. The third step in the RMF is the implement stage. With a security control baseline defined, control type and ownership established, Program Office personnel must determine and document how the information system implements these security controls. Program offices must use best practices when implementing the security controls within the information system, including system and software engineering methodologies, security engineering principles, and secure coding techniques. In addition, program offices must ensure that mandatory federal HUD and program office defined configuration settings are established and implemented on IT products in accordance with standards. Information system security engineers, with support from ISSOs, employ a sound security engineering process that captures and refines information security requirements and ensures the integration of those requirements into information technology products and systems through purposeful security design or configuration. For systems with inherited controls and common controls, the system owner can either document the control implementation of these controls in security plans or reference the controls contained in the security plans of the common and inherited control providers. For the identified common controls inherited by the information system security engineers with support from ISSO coordinate with the common control provider to determine the most appropriate way to apply the common controls to the program office information systems. The Security Assessment Plan, or SAP, provides the objectives for the security control assessment and provides a detailed roadmap of how to conduct the security assessment. The assessment plan reflects the type of assessment the organization is conducting, such as the developmental testing and evaluation, independent verification and validation, assessments supporting security authorizations or reauthorizations, audits, continuous monitoring, or assessments subsequent to remediation actions. This SAP is reviewed and approved by appropriate program office officials to ensure that the plan is consistent with the security objectives of HUD and the program office. The SAP also leverages available tools, employs state-of-the-art practices and techniques, procedures, and automation to support the concept of configuration, near real-time risk management, and is cost-effective with regard to the resources allocated for the assessment. When security controls are provided to the program office by an external provider, the program office ensures that assessors have access to the information system or environment of operation where the controls are employed, as well as appropriate information needed to carry out the assessment. NIST Special Publication 853A provides the guidance on performing control assessment, documentation, and analysis of results of the assessments. Control assessment and analysis will identify controls deemed as satisfying or not satisfying the control objectives. A finding of satisfied indicates that for the portion of the security control addressed by the determination statement, the assessment information obtained indicates that the assessment objective for the control has been met, producing a fully acceptable result. A finding of other than satisfied indicates that for the portion of the security control addressed by the determination statement, potential anomalies in the operation or implementation of the control may need to be addressed by the system owner. With the release of the final Security Assessment Report, or SAR, the system owner or the ISSO must prepare the POAMs. The CISO may request written documentation and relevant artifacts from the program office to support monitoring of progress of remediation actions. At a minimum, the authorization package contains a security plan with associated appendices, a SAR, POAMs, and an authorization recommendation. The information in these key documents is used by the authorizing official, or AO, to make risk-based authorization decisions. For information systems inheriting common controls for specific security capabilities, The security authorization package for the common controls or a reference to such documentation is also included in the authorization package. When security controls are provided to the program office ensures that the information needed for the AO to make risk-based decisions is made available by the provider and is included in the security authorization package. The AO assesses the information contained in the authorization package. The AO also reviews the risk assessment information contained in the SAR regarding the current security state of the system or the common controls inherited by the system. The explicit acceptance of risk is the responsibility of the AO and cannot be delegated to other officials within the organization. The AO issues an authorization decision for the information system and the common controls inherited by the system, after reviewing all of the relevant information and, where appropriate, consulting with other program and departmental officials. Security authorization decisions are based on the content of the security authorization package, and where appropriate, any inputs received from key organizational officials. The security authorization decision indicates to the information system owner whether the system is authorized to operate, or ATO, or not authorized to operate. The RMF describes a disciplined and structured process that integrates information security and risk management activities into the system development lifecycle. Ongoing monitoring is a critical part of that risk management process. Maintaining an up-to-date view of information security risks across HUD is a complex, multifaceted undertaking. It requires the involvement from senior leaders providing governance and strategic vision to individuals developing, implementing, and operating individual information systems in support of HUD's core missions and business functions. The HUD risk tolerance established by senior executives and leaders as part of the risk executive function influences the ISCM policy, procedures, and implementation activities across all tiers. Data collection primarily occurs at the information systems tier. Metrics are designed to present information in a context that is meaningful to each tier to aid in risk management decision-making. For example, ISCM data collected may be aggregated to provide security status or risk scores for a single system, for a collection of systems, across a core business process, or for an entire organization. Ongoing assessment of security control effectiveness supports a system's security authorization over time in highly dynamic environments of operation with changing threats, vulnerabilities, technologies, and mission and business processes. Through ISCM, new threat or vulnerability information is evaluated as it becomes available, permitting organizations to make adjustments to security requirements or individual controls as needed to maintain authorization decisions. The objectives of Module 5 are: know minimum system inventory policy and describe minimum system inventory components such as system description, system responsibility, security information, system interconnections, and system inventory updates. FISMA requires that agencies establish an inventory of major information systems to support FISMA activities. The Clinger-Cohen Act and OMB also require that each IT system is tracked and linked to IT capital planning, architecture, and investment control by a unique system identifier number. Furthermore, the Paperwork Reduction Act establishes a broad mandate for agencies to perform their information resources management activities in an efficient, effective, and economical manner. The HUD IT Security Policy has established the policy for inventory management of IT systems. This document will provide minimum system inventory component for the HUD to complete its quarterly IT system inventory updates. This document ensures consistency across the HUD enterprise in determining how IT systems are reported and tracked by the OITS. This collection of IT systems, known as the HUD FISMA inventory, is a subset inventory nested within the Cybersecurity Assessment and Management, or CSAM, system inventory. System description represents information that identifies each system. The following minimum system information shall be captured in CSAM as part of system description. System name, which is the system title that describes each IT system uniquely. System purpose, which identifies the business function it supports and indicates data flows. System environment, which lists hardware, software, system components, URLs, and IP addresses. Sensitivity type, which identifies whether the system contains personal identifiable information, or PII. System location, which is a system's physical location. System type, which identifies whether the system is a general support system, or GSS, or a major application, an MA. Life cycle stage, identifies the system development life cycle phase. Exhibit 53300 account code, unique project identifier, or UPI account code placed on exhibits 53 and 300 to report the investment during the budget year. System impact level, which determines the system impact level of high, moderate, or low. System equipment ownership, which indicates whether the system is operated on government or contractor equipment. System facility ownership or lease, which indicates whether the system is operated in a government or contractor facility. And system operations personnel, which indicates whether federal government or contractor personnel operate the system. System responsibility represents individuals who are responsible for the security of each system. They are the system owner, who provides a name and phone number of the system owner who is responsible for the day-to-day system operations. The ISSO, who provides the name and phone number of the person assigned operational security responsibility. And the authorizing official, or AO, who provides the name and phone number of the person authorized to accreditate the system for operation. The following system security information of a system is documented: security plan date, risk assessment date, contingency plan date, contingency plan test date, security assessment report or SAR plan date, SAR test date, certification date, authorization date. System interconnections identify the interfaces between the department's system and all other systems or networks not covered by the same security plan, including those not operated by or under the control of the department. The following information listed on the slide is documented as part of system interconnections. Interconnected organization, which is the name of the entity or organization to which the system is connected. Interconnection system identification or name, the system name of the interconnected system. And interconnection transaction type, which is the type of transaction supported by the transaction or government to government, government to business, or government to citizen. Each HUD program office shall update its IT system inventory quarterly, in addition to updating inventories when significant changes occur to the status of their overall program or an individual system. Program offices shall also provide interim updates when systems are added or removed from the inventory, and at least monthly when undergoing significant changes to inventory data. The objectives of Module 6 are: understand the ISCM system level process. Step 1, define strategy. Step 2, establish ISCM program. Step 3, implement. Step 4, analyze and report. Step 5, respond to findings. Step 6, review and update. And then review supporting ISCM technologies. ISCM is defined as maintaining ongoing awareness of information security, vulnerabilities, and threats, support organizational risk management decisions, and begins with a leadership defining a comprehensive ISCM strategy encompassing technology, processes, procedures, operating environments, and people. At Tier 1, the criteria for ISCM is defined by the organization's risk management strategy, including how the organization plans to assess, respond to, and monitor risk, and the oversight required to ensure that the risk management strategy is effective. The Tier 2 criteria for continuous monitoring of information security are defined by how core mission and business processes are prioritized with respect to the overall goals and objectives of the organization, the types of information needed to successfully execute the stated mission and business processes, and the organization-wide information security program strategy. ISCM activities at Tier 3 address risk management from an information system perspective. These activities include ensuring that all system-level security and privacy controls are implemented correctly, operate as intended, produce the desired outcome with respect to meeting the security requirements for the system, and continue to be effective over time. An organization's ISCM program works closely with the AO to provide funding, personnel, and other resources to support ISCM, and maintaining high-level communications and working group relationships among organizational entities. The first step in the ISCM process is to define an ISCM strategy. Effective ISCM begins with development of a strategy that addresses ISCM requirements and activities at each organizational tier: organization, mission and business processes, and information systems. Each tier monitors security metrics and assesses security control effectiveness with established monitoring and assessment frequencies and status reports customized to support tier-specific decision-making. The second step in the ISCM process is to establish an ISCM program. The program is sufficient to inform risk-based decisions and maintain operations within established risk tolerances. Goals include detection of anomalies and changes in the organization's environments of operation and information systems, visibility into assets, awareness of vulnerabilities, knowledge of threats, security control effectiveness, and security status, including compliance. The third step in the ISCM process is to implement the ISCM program. ISCM is implemented in accordance with the strategy. Security-related information is collected as required for predefined metrics, security control assessments are conducted, and the security-related information generated is reported in accordance with organizational policies and procedures. All security control classes, management, operational, and technical, and types, common, hybrid, and system-specific, are included in the organizational continuous monitoring program. Every control is monitored for effectiveness, and every control is subject to use in monitoring security status. Data sources include people, processes, technologies, the computing environment, as well as any existing relevant security control assessment reports. The fourth step is to analyze data and report findings. Organizations develop procedures for analyzing and reporting assessment and monitoring results. This includes the specific staff and roles to receive ISCM reports, the content and format of the reports, the frequency of reports, and any tools to be used. Also included are requirements for analyzing and reporting results of controls that are not easily automated. The fifth step is to respond to findings. Security-related information obtained from monitoring is analyzed and met with appropriate responses. Response to findings at all tiers may include risk mitigation, risk acceptance, risk avoidance or rejection, or risk sharing or transfer in accordance with organizational risk tolerance. The sixth step is to review and update the monitoring program and strategy. ISCM strategies and programs are not static. Security control assessments, security status metrics, and monitoring and assessment frequencies change in accordance with the needs of the organization. The continuous monitoring strategy is reviewed to ensure that it is sufficiently supports the organization in operating within acceptable risk tolerance levels, that metrics remain relevant, and that data is current and complete. The following are interrelated to the ISCM process: risk tolerance, enterprise architecture, security configurations, plans for changes to enterprise architecture, and available threat information. Organization-wide monitoring cannot be efficiently achieved through manual processes alone or through automated processes alone. There must be a combination of automated and manual processes. A Tier 3 capability must be created to enable querying and reporting on the data aggregated from multiple tools covering multiple ISCM security automation domains. These domains include vulnerability management, patch management, event management, incident management, malware detection, configuration management, asset management, network management, license management, information management, and software assurance. Some of the key continuous monitoring activities in addition to those listed on this slide are security impact analysis, integrity scanning, annual review of access agreements or MOUAs and ISAs, update of FISMA inventory information in CSAM, annual physical access record reviews, monthly POAM updates, and user account reviews. Some of the software assurance technologies are Common Weakness Enumeration, or CWE, which is a dictionary of weaknesses that can lead to exploitable vulnerabilities. Common Weakness Scoring System, or CWSS, assigns risk scores to weaknesses. Common Attack Pattern Enumeration and Classification, or CAPEC, which is a catalog of attack patterns. Malware Attribute Enumeration and Characterization, or MAEC, which is a standardized language about malware based on attributes such as behaviors and attack patterns. Security Content Automation Protocol, or SCAP, which is a suite of specifications that standardize the format and nomenclature by which security software products communicate security flaw and security configuration information. For more information, refer to NIST Draft Special Publication 800-126, the technical specification for the Security Content Automation Protocol, or SCAP version 1.1. The SCAP validation program validates two types of vulnerability and patch scanners, authenticated and unauthenticated. The use of SCAP validated vulnerability scanners enables interoperability among vulnerability scanners and reporting tools to provide consistent detection and reporting of those flaws and supports comprehensive remediation capabilities. The United States Government Configuration Baseline, or USGCB, and Federal Desktop Core Configuration, or FDCC, provide security configuration baselines for information technology products widely deployed across the federal agencies. For additional information, please refer to the National Vulnerability Database, or NVD, and security configuration checklists. FISMA and OMB Circular A130 Appendix 3 require management authorization or accreditation of all information systems to store, process, or transmit federal data. The CSAM tool provides federal agencies, program officials, and IT security managers with a web-based secure network capability to assess, document, manage, and report on the status of IT security risk assessments and implementation of NIST and federal standards and policies. CSAM also provides a centralized system for the management of POAMs to include creating, tracking, and closing. Moreover, CSAM automates system inventory and provides FISMA reporting capabilities. The scope of this module is limited to developing processes to facilitate the use of CSAM to manage risks to IT systems, and also to utilize CSAM as a repository for all system security documentation. This section simplifies the CSAM usage for HUD personnel by developing key processes for each of the steps in the RMF. Each step of the RMF lists the documents to be uploaded to CSAM and the activities that precede the development of the documents. The prepare step, which is newly added in December 2018, is not listed in this slide. The next few slides will address each of the RMF steps in detail. In step 1 of the RMF, the system owner is responsible for completion of the following security categorization tasks in the initiation phase of the system lifecycle. The list on the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These include the FIPS 199 analysis document, the partial system security plan or SSP containing system environment description and points of contact, the ISSO appointment memo, which is signed by the system owner, the HUD system ID registered in CSAM for new systems, completed CSAM fields for system general information, points of contacts, interconnections, and information types. The following tasks for step 2 involve coordination among several roles: the system owner, the CIO, the common control providers, security architect and engineers, and the authorizing official. The list shown on the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These include the e-authentication threshold analysis or ETA if required, the e-authentication risk assessment or ERA if required by the ETA, the privacy threshold analysis or PTA if required, the privacy impact analysis or the PIA if required by the PTA, the continuous monitoring plan or strategy, the risk assessment report or RAR, the AO approved FIPS 200 analysis document, draft POAMs created in CSAM for planned controls that are identified in the system security plan, and the system security plan itself or the SSP. In the development and acquisition and implementation phases of the system development lifecycle, the system owner will consider the analysis for control selection and SSP documentation of control implementation requirements in step 2 and implements the controls as approved for the system. The list shown on the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These documents include an updated SSP, a contingency plan, a contingency test plan and results, a configuration management plan, an incident response plan, security education training and awareness plan if applicable, and a business impact analysis or a BIA. The tasks in step 4 occur in the development, acquisition, and implementation phases of the SDLC. The objectives are to evaluate the effectiveness of security controls, create the Security Assessment Report, the SAR, and determine appropriate and feasible actions for remediating deficiencies found. The Security Control Assessor is primarily responsible for assessment preparation, developing the Security Assessment Plan, the SAP, and preparing the SAR. The system owner is required to participate in the assessment of the system and is responsible for contributing to the task for determining remedial actions that will be tracked in POAMs. The list shown on this slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These documents include the Security Assessment Plan, the SAP, the Vulnerability Assessment Rules of Engagement, or ROE, Penetration Testing ROE, if applicable, Security Control Assessment, or the SCA report, Vulnerability Assessment Report, Penetration Testing Report, if applicable, any assessment artifacts, an updated Risk Management Report, or RAR, and a Security Assessment Report, a SAR. The purpose of Step 5 in the implementation phase of the SDLC is to obtain a decision from the authorizing official regarding initial authorization for system operation. The system owner presents the final risk determination to the authorizing official. The list shown on this slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These include the Security Authorization Package, the Security Authorization Decision Memo signed by the AO approved POAMs finalized in CSAM, the updated SSP to reflect AO mandates and authorization decision, all final ANA artifacts uploaded to CSAM, and CSAM dates updated within 5 business days of authorization. Once authorized to operate, the system moves into the operation and maintenance phases of the SDLC. The system owners and common control providers are responsible for maintaining the approved configuration of their information system by executing a robust configuration management plan to control and document changes to the information system, and a continuous monitoring process to monitor continued control effectiveness. In this step, the system owner executes the continuous monitoring plan developed in Step 2. There are 7 sub-steps in Step 6, Monitor. Step 6.1 is the Information System Environment Changes. The list for 6.1 is shown in this slide, identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These include the Configuration Change Control Request documentation, as needed, the Security Impact Analysis, or SIA, for system change, as needed, the Configuration Change Control Board meeting minutes, as needed, and the updated system hardware and software inventories, also as needed. Step 6.2 is ongoing security control assessments. The list for 6.2 shown in this slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These include an ANA project plan, a security assessment plan or an SAP, a vulnerability assessment rules of engagement or ROE, a penetration testing ROE if applicable, an SCA report, a vulnerability assessment report, a penetration testing report if applicable, and any assessment artifacts developed during this time. The list for 6.2 is a continuation of key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These also include an updated RAR, an updated Security Assessment Report or SAR, a final assessment artifacts uploaded to CSAM and CSAM dates updated within 5 business days of assessment completion, updated POAMs in CSAM, completed change control requests, a POAM closure artifacts including revised system documents that were updated or developed as indicated by POAM milestones. Step 6.3 is ongoing remedial action. The list for 6.3 shown in the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These include updated POEMs in CSAM, completed change control requests, and POEM closure artifacts, including revised system documents that were updated or developed as indicated by POEM milestones. Step 6.4 is key updates. The list for 6.4 shown in the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. All of these documents are required to be updated in years of authorization termination or significant system change. These documents include an AO-approved FIPS 199 analysis document, an e-authentication threshold analysis or ETA, an e-authentication risk assessment ERA if required by the ETA, a privacy threshold analysis or PTA, and a privacy impact analysis or PIA if required by the PTA. The list for 6.4 is a continuation of key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded in CSAM during this period. These documents also include a continuous monitoring plan, updated and new interconnection security agreements as needed or per the agreement, a contingency plan update, contingency plan test plan and results, risk assessment report or the RAR, an AO-approved FIPS 200 analysis document which is updated in years of authorization termination or significant change, an updated BIA, an updated configuration management plan, an updated incident response plan, security education training and awareness plan if applicable, and an SSP update. Step 6.5 is security status reporting. The list for 6.5 shown in the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These documents include a monthly briefing, various FISMA reporting documents, and an ad hoc data call reports as needed by HUD and OMB. Step 6.6 is ongoing risk determination and acceptance. The list for 6.6 shown in the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These documents include security authorization package, security authorization decision memo as signed by the AO in years of authorization termination, or security authorization acknowledgement memo signed by the AO in years that the system authorization is not scheduled for termination. The AO approved POEMs as finalized in CSAM, an updated SSP to reflect AO mandates and authorization decision, and a final ANA group of artifacts uploaded to CSAM and CSAM dates updated within 5 business days of authorization. Step 6.7 is information system removal and decommissioning. The list for 6.7 shown in the slide identifies key activities and documents that are required to be uploaded to CSAM. These documents include an AO-approved system decommissioning plan, a signed memo requesting to remove the system from the FISMA systems inventory, and equipment sanitation and disposal records as needed.